exact information. But we've got somebody else again. It is Mostert.
Yeah.
It is. I just heard someone say I got a right rear, and I looked down on the radio and saw 55. One of the GRM cars, and it's Moffat has fired off down there, and that's going to pick up kilos of mud in the front of it, getting back on it turn 2. And it's his teammate that has to carefully clear. Remember, Moffat was a big...
In the sand at the end of turn 1.
Blown a tyre. He had damage on the right rear guard, and it's blown it, popped a tyre at the critical moment on the approach to turn 1 and pitched him into the gravel down there. See the telltale smoke, and whack, there it goes. Bit of car control testing there for poor young Jack. No real.
It's punctured already. So it was actually punctured just before he put his foot on the brake. And we've been saying a lot that
was that guard, the more damage you've got to deal with when the car gets back in, and now Scott Pye with the right rear. I'm having trouble tracking these at the moment. So 3 yesterday, and that's a 285 km/h approach. So he had some warning. One of the things the drivers have been talking about is a lack of warning. Now Waters, this is the second time, if my math is correct. That's the right rear. We've got a lot of sun on our screens here. Yeah, it is. Very high average speed, big loads. If you combine and ignore the gap between, more problems here for Mostert. Right rear, and it's ripping the sill panel off.
But this will be revised heavily. Oh, big tyre failure in the right front for Jason Bright.
Ryan. And that's because of the amount of stuff that you've seen on the road down there. A problem now for Michael Caruso, car number 23, the Nissan entry, and it's a right rear as well. And there's the reason why all this stuff's on the road. So right rear has failed on Tim's car, again at a really spooky place down there. So the inside edge of the tyre.
On that tyre in the middle of that process, because he hasn't quite had the pace since then. Whoa, this has pulled Umbrella off. Oh, right rear tyre is gone, and is he going to touch the wall? No. And I heard a report just a few moments ago that they may have had a broken anti-rear roll bar on that car as well, so maybe something's going awry with the rear roll bars on the Perkins cars. But
see, obviously got good pace, so Fabian now needs to do... Oh, there's a big failure down there. That's Percat heavily into the side. I think it was Rulo. Now, that was just before that.
Is that Frosty's car? Yeah, so looking from Frosty's car. Just see the front brake road.
Here we go. This is fast. It's roughly 250 kilometres an hour. Does it actually make contact with the fence? It does. Yep.
Just lever a little bit more. I need a Commodore width here, please, Rick.
I think you find
trouble for Michael Caruso. The right rear has failed. So the first of the key runners that we've seen with a problem here. Lap.
When it drops.
You just watch this in the background. Oh, was it a tyre failure? Yes, I think it's a... I couldn't tell. Actually, it looked like a right-hand front. But that's a massive off for Taz Douglas. You were without it, weren't they? Here we go, on board. Yeah. He'd be so cranky about it, wouldn't he? Cool down lap. And there's no burnouts today because we've only got 20 tyres all weekend. This is what may have happened. We'll just go on board now with Mostert. He's come out of turn 4, down to Siberia. And I think the right-hand front tyre goes now. And it does, straight off. So Chaz, who was doing it,
he throws it down very, very deep into turn 1. Frosty tucks it right up over the top of the curb on the inside on the Vallelunga curbing with all those serrations. So there's huge vibration, car off the road. And it's a big moment for Scotty Pye between 1 and 2.
What that gap is, and McLaughlin will be just doing that. For instance, that's a big crash. That's a tyre failure. I thought he'd got in the fence on the right. There was a lot of damage on the right-hand front of that.
Exploded. Here's another view of what's gone on here, so you can see it. And I tell you, he was very lucky not to get turned around because one of the Lucas Dumbrell Abro cars was straight into the back of him there, and it was Heimgartner. So it pops, and because it pops, he props. Heimgartner clobbers it. Bright saw it. Duck.
Strategy around Courtney because of that penalty. Now, that tyre's blown very early. You can see the rear instability very early in the stop. So that right rear tyre was blown. Mid-lap, it was definitely going to affect him. Look at the damage in the lower right of your screen there.
Well, imagine the centrifugal force on the tyre at the point where the car's doing just on that last lap speed. Whincup was the fastest, as Roland just pointed out. He sees that on his data as well. Lowndes was 4th fastest. Oh, off the road. Big incident here for Lowndes. He's in the wall. The race leader in the wall. That looked like a left trigger a safety car. And Lowndes, big damage. Be very much of it to look at it. So it's let go big time. Plucked the left rear guard, which is a composite guard, off it. And of course, as soon as he's...
What's happened to Jamie Whincup? This will explain what happened to Russell Ingall.
It's a steering arm failure. Steering arm failure has not turned. It's gone straight into the fence, has not turned right at turn 13. That car did not even deviate direction. That is a big hit. Block off. Have a look how hard it's raining down here now. It's right in front of us. Here's the slide.
Looking
that's tandem.
In the field that's on a wet is Chaz Mostert. And Chaz at the moment is in position number 12 at turn 12. It will be super slippery there. It is major slippery, so much so that he's half rotated it. Does it stay off? And so Pye is fighting for everything. He's had an up and down and difficult career. But they are battling for the lead. They cannot see. It's so wet out there. There's no light. There's no grip, but there's major points up for grabs. Garage, they will go to the line. Absolutely nose to tail. Scott Pye, that is a magician's performance. Well done on the streets of Melbourne.
Man, he can make a call on rubber, a decisive call on rubber at that time.
And Tandem will be hoping for a pace
That's what you're in for, you see, because you come howling up there in the dry, and then at the second you get to find out it's wet, it's wet, it's too, it's too late, it's bone dry, so...
Is that the Gibson car? That's Lowndes. Lowndes is in the wall.
No.
Lowndes has gone. I can't quite see there whether he's managed to back out of there, but he actually drilled the tyre wall.
Oh, look at those. Now that is, they're going thinking, oh, well, he's going that speed, so I can go that speed.
Terry Y. Hearn Rod Salmon machine. Oh, wow, didn't he drill that bank?
That's a big contact. Oh, look at this.
There's definitely a bit of weather around, and there it is confirmed on the screen of that car. The road, and when you see that, they're diabolical to drive. Look at this.
It's fairly heavy in pit lane, but it should be a short shower, mate.
What a move by Jamie Whincup. He's now at the front of the field. He's gone past Stephen Johnson. They're getting slippery. It's bucketing down.
Drive.
Good job gathering it up in this lap.
You can't drive on slick tyres on a fully wet track.
Stephen Johnson. Is that the 500 slipping away? And you're through some of the highlights of the last 40-odd minutes or so, because this is when the rain started to come down. Look how wet the track starts to get, the infield starts to get. Rick Kelly, that was his first excursion. His second one was really scary at turn 1. Unbelievable. And then Andy Jones, an almighty crash in the Team BOC car.
Bring the tyres up to speed, mate. They'll be greasy as fuck for a while.
Bring the tyres up to speed. They'll be greasy for a while. Out there on slick tyres.
You can hear the panic scream now. Radicic has decided to come into the pits, and Ingall's coming with him. So,
look at this.
Conditions, he's our race leader at the moment.
Best of luck to him, I tell you
very,
what,
very confusing here. So Greg Murphy, we're just trying to pick up a picture of our race leader.
Now, you won't believe the amount of high fives going on down here at the Shell team. Now, that call to come in was instigated by Stevie Johnson. He was out there in the pit saying...
In terms of settings and what you got to do, but it looks like the Shell team, problems here for John Bow.
No careers are concerned.
Oh,
he's gone! Radicic, the race leader is gone!
And what about...
Spun out of contention. Russell Ingall went through on the inside, so Ingall has regained the lead.
This race is declared.
Radicic is
We're hearing from race control that Radicic and Junior Johnson are the winners.
Well, in the 3 years...
Previous to